Hi everyone, and welcome to the first edition of Social Samosa. Hope all of you are enjoying this edition. I'm Veena Kumar, Senior Global Leadership Partner with the Leadership Institute, and I have the privilege today of interviewing our leader, Meera Narayanan. She's the India Region Head for Selling Partner Support. She comes with 18 and a half years experience, and she's been with us for about 19 months. Meera, a very warm welcome to this small interaction with us.
Thank
you. I have a bunch of questions for you and look forward to your open, candid responses as always.
Thank
so
you.
The first question for you, Meera, is what does your typical day look like?
I think that's a very tough one to answer, Veena. Typically, I would not say I am 100% there yet, but what I try and accomplish is I sectionize the day to make sure that there are elements that include people development responsibilities that I have. Of course, the hygiene stuff around email management, making sure that the turnaround time is met, etc. But I think my major focus in a particular day is to make sure that my interactions with people and the percentage of time that I spend there is increasing by week, by month, by year, because I think in my role, that's what is most important. I want to force multiply whatever I have to give from my team perspective, from a region perspective. So from that perspective, I feel the more time I devote with people, talking to them, sharing my learnings, learning from them, it will probably benefit all of us as one team in India. And probably a 50% or thereabout right now, but I'd like to probably increase it to a 60-40. And that's personally me. I don't know what's the right or the wrong answer to this, but that's personally me.
Okay. That's great, Meera. It's fantastic to know that. But I have a bunch of other questions that associates are keen to know about you. And the next one is, what do you find most exciting and motivating at work?
Can I just say, I find being in Amazon most exciting and motivating for my own self. And I'm sure that's the same for everybody that works with Amazon, right? The fact that it's always about learning and being curious and improving yourself, that excites me because I'm not afraid of failures. And that really excites me, and it's very different to any other organization that I've worked so far with. And that motivates me to do well, take those risks, and not really worry about it, because I know that either it's going to be a success or there's going to be a learning at the end of it. And that excites me. The other thing that really excites me is being amongst people. I've always said this, I get my energy from people. I like to be around people. I like those interactions. And I think people around me energize me, motivate me, and inspire me.
That's awesome. And I've seen you do that every time you interact with people. I think your energy is so contagious that you kind of just spread it in those small interactions that you have every time you visit our sites. So would it be fair to say that learn and be curious is your favorite leadership principle? And if yes, I'd like you to share a little bit about how you practice it on an everyday basis.
Yeah, I think it is. And the reason I say it is because you have no choice when you join Amazon but to be learning curious. The only success mantra for you in Amazon is to make sure that you unwind and learn what you've learned. Let's say I have 18 years of experience. It has been a fabulous journey for me only because I've unlearned everything that I've learned in the past. And I've started right from the base, right from the scratch. And I think it's very, very critical for you to be successful. And when I say success, I don't mean the quantum of success, but for your own development, right? And for you, for your own self to grow. It just makes so much more sense for you to learn the Amazon ways. It's hard in the beginning to understand certain things in terms of why the ways of working are so different, why there are certain emphasis being provided on certain principles and certain frameworks and mechanisms. But 6 months, 8 months, 9 months down the line, the answers come to you because you're living it, you're bringing it to life, and you see people around you living by those principles. by those leadership principles. I think one of the examples that I want to share is, and this is a very real example, right? When I'd come in, my attention span was this. I'd go into meetings, I would go into conference calls,
Right.
then people would say 20 minutes for reading.
Right.
I'd be like 20 minutes and I'd be done in 5 minutes because my attention span was small. And I'd be like looking at everybody's face, completely blank, because I couldn't focus, because I've never done that in the last 18 years, right? This is the first time I was doing it. I was finding it really hard to focus on paper reading. Slowly and gradually, I started understanding why that is so important, right? Because there's no spotlight on the presenter. The spotlight is on the paper, and that's for you to carry,
Right.
because then nobody is explaining, articulating, and with the worry that something can be left out, right? And the point is made in the paper. Slowly and gradually you start understanding. When you start understanding the crux of why certain things happen a certain way, then you become passionate about it. Today, it's what, 19 months now? Today, when there are 20 minutes, I'm able to read a paper in about 15 to 17 minutes, a full 6-pager. Initially, I just read the first page and the last page. I want to be very honest about that. But now,
Right.
I go through the full process because I understand the value that you get out of it.
Right.
And that probably is the biggest example. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But when you get it, then you become really passionate about it, because now I can stand in front of 100 people and say why that is so important.
Yeah.
So probably that's an example that I can share.
Thank you, Meera, for that really honest response. The next question I have for you, and this is something that all of us think a lot about, is how do you manage your time? How do you manage the work-life balance?
I think that's a great question. And you and I both know there is no extraordinary answer to this question, right? It's a daily battle to do this, right? But I think you get better at it, because once you're conscious that you need to manage your time, because from your work-life balance comes the passion to work better when you come into work, right? So somewhere, I think this organization, I'd start by saying this organization is extremely flexible. We are very global in the way we function, right? You know, Meera, that we have various marketplaces that I'm responsible for, right? So from that perspective, it's a 24/7.
That's right.
But at the same time, the organization is so flexible in the sense that you have to keep your sanity. To work well, to be more effective, to be more productive, you have to keep your sanity. How does one do that? So there have been great conversations about that with my reporting manager to say, what really makes sense for me to do in terms of those 10 hours to 12 hours that you work, so that you get proper sleep, you're able to maintain the right work-life balance, and manage your time effectively. How do I, part A of your question, how do I manage my time effectively? I think to calendarize your day is very, very important. If you have a goal in mind, you may not meet the goal, but if you have some ballpark number in your head to say, this is the amount of time I want to spend other than hygiene stuff, which is like people development, interacting with people, making sure we're all achieving the same objective, we have the same vision, etc. You make sure, like for example, what I do is I sit with Apeksha, and she and I decide at the beginning of a quarter to say, what is the amount of time that you really want to spend in your calendar on a particular activity. That could be repetitive, that could be hygiene, but how can you force multiply there? For example, rather than doing loads of one-on-ones, can you actually do group sessions?
Right.
Because the message is going to be the same. Can you have more people benefiting from there? And you also learn in that process. So can you squeeze that time out there and do something, go out and learn, experience, explore new things? And that's how I kind of constantly change it. I don't have like a set pattern. I keep changing, experimenting every quarter. And that kind of works for me, Meera. That's the hard reality, that I don't think there is just one right answer for this, because you need to keep experimenting to say what is better for you. And when you learn, when you evolve as a professional, your time zones are also different, and your time allocation also needs to change with that. So I keep experimenting, and I think so far, I won't say I'm right there, but I think I'm pretty happy with the work-life balance. And it is hard, but it's extremely critical to get there, because if you're not really sane, if you're not really happy and if you're not really upbeat and passionate about working, then the 10 to 12 hours can become very, very long.
Yeah.
So I think I'm trying, I'm experimenting, and I'm happy with that.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And I love how you continue to stress on the learning journey.
Yeah.
And really appreciate, Meera, that you talk about the importance of the work-life balance.
Yeah.
So that's a great message for us. Okay, so Meera, here's a fun one. Okay, this is a rapid fire round. And it has to be less than 10 seconds, every response.
Got it.
Okay, ready?
Ready.
Okay. 3 words to describe your weekend.
Movies, me time, lots of sleeping. That's
Great.
it.
Your favorite actor or actress?
My favorite actor is Abhishek Bachchan. I know people will laugh at me for saying this, but it is what it is.
Alright, great. One thing that irritates you.
Trustbuster.
Okay. Your favorite metric.
Connections.
A book you would recommend.
Multipliers.
What's the first thing you notice about someone when you first meet them?
Authenticity.
One thing on your bucket list.
That's a tough one. There are too many things on my bucket list, but I'm going to give you one. You laugh. You'll die laughing. Before I die, I want to spend my entire salary on buying perfumes. It's a very weird one.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Alright, sure. Okay, so Meera, you need to say the first word that comes to your mind as you listen to this. Okay. Early morning.
I hate it.
PRR.
It needs to be out of my bucket list.
Interesting. Chat, call or email.
Whatever suits the customer.
Great answer. Meetings.
If productive, great. If not, then feel free to say no.
Okay, that's more than one word. But anyway, Mumbai.
Love it.
Okay, thank
Love
you.
the city.
That's awesome. So Meera, I know you've learned music for several years, and I know you have a very beautiful voice. So can
Thank
you
you
sing?
for being generous.
No, I'm sure everyone will agree you have a great voice. Can you sing 2 lines for us, please?
Sure. I'm going to sing a song from the 70s, I guess. Okay, this is one of my favorite songs.
Sure.
लग जा गए के फिर ये हंसी रात हो न हो, शायद फिर इस जन्म में मुलाकात हो न हो, लग जा गए.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Meera.
Thank you, Meera, for taking the time out today.
I really loved interacting with you.
I loved interacting with you as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you.